refuses to give up hope.
The scenario everyone's hoping for is we bring them home.
The scenario everyone's hoping for is we bring them home. The scenario everyone is hoping for. How about you? I want to hear from you. I hope we will find them. Don't include other people with you, because when you do that, you already remove commitment, which is not expected, because what we care about or what we want to hear more about is your personal determination and your personal relationship to these children, because I didn't know these people, these kids, personally. But you did. For 3 years they lived with you. Now, they may not be your biological children, but you had them since Jack was 1 and Lily was 4. So it would be, what, too much for me to expect that you feel a very deep connection, that you are not thinking about everyone whatsoever, but only about their well-being, considering you consider the possibility that these kids are alive and potentially suffering somewhere. So they haven't been found in the woods. They have not, they would have not been, I don't care what anybody says, without assistance on their own, they would have not been able to get that far, even within a whole day, to be out of sight. They would have had no food. Maybe you could check the streams. They would have had maybe water there had they gone to the rivers or the streams. And I'm just not talking theoretically. I'm talking about potentially. Potentially, against all odds, what could have happened? I'm only dealing with the possibility of these kids having taken off by themselves without any adult, anybody being close by, anywhere, period. So, how could they have survived? How could they have made it further than 200 yards with no water and no food? Water, okay, you would check the rivers. It's possible. What? Both of them have fallen into a stream and been swept away? Both of them? Well, let's look at this scenario as well. But how likely is that? That both of them would have fallen? And she's talking about surf, right? The surf, I appreciate the surf effort. That was her slip, her first slip. But it would be more likely that they would have been put in there, or their bodies, than them actually both falling. But of course, let's look at every single possibility. Could it have been that maybe Jack fell? How far away is this, the closest stream, the closest creek? And I'm only bringing this up because maybe they were drawn to water. Of course, I'm not considering this, because their language indicates that they know what happened and that this did not happen. But I'm talking about simple logic, because otherwise it would have been impossible for them to get far with no food and no water, walking more than ever, meaning they would sweat, um, they would be very, very thirsty. Just think about the scenario and the fact that he doesn't want to address any specific scenario. What could have happened to them? Well, what I've just said is what I would expect a parent to think about. What could have happened to these kids? So His scenario, his favorite scenario is everyone's hoping for is we bring them home. Everyone. He's worried about everyone. That's his priority. Not the children, not what they're going through. Look at this.
All the people searching for Lily and Jack, and he refuses to give up hope.
The scenario everyone's hoping for is we bring
A scenario everyone's hoping for is we. What is your favorite scenario? Let's hear it.
them home. That's the main objective. It's always been.
That's the main objective. The main one. What are the other objectives? Isn't that the only objective? And how about simply to find them? Not bring them home. That seems like a closure type of statement. Bring them home. That's something that you say about soldiers overseas. Bring them home. And you also say it when they return in a body bags. But it's a sign of closure. We bring our guys home. They have fallen for us. We claim their bodies. We will give them a dignified burial. That's the main. He says that's twice. He wants to hammer it in, or he is nervous, thinking about what to say next, how to word it. How can he word something in a way that people will leave him alone? That appears to be the motivation for him talking about the polygraph test.
Been that from day one.
It's always been there from day one.
Disappearance has sparked rampant speculation on social media, much of it involving Martel. He calls it all nonsense and says he's had nothing to do with the disappearance.
So some people have said, I think Daniel had something to do with, or Daniel is the one. Others say Malaya is the one. Let's find out more.
It'll never be enough for a lot of people online.
It will never be enough for a lot of people online. Listen to this guy. Remember when he talked about the polygraph? People online and their crazy speculation or their crazy accusations. He didn't even say speculations. He said accusations. And he didn't deny it. He didn't say these are false allegations. He labeled them as crazy. It will never be enough. And he says never be enough for a lot of people online. He doesn't expect these accusations to ever go away. And what exactly will never be enough? His performance? Is that what he was talking about? Is he asking, what else can I do for people to stop speculating or accusing me? I'm already out here. I'm searching. When I don't search for a short period of time, I immediately say, well, there was a guy in uniform and he told me not to. He feels almost, it is like he is reporting to a supervisor. Sorry, sir, I couldn't go there. A police officer was telling me I couldn't clean this area or do this. He acts like we are his employers. And he is performing for us and he is proving that he's doing a good job. But this should be only between him and these two children that stayed with him for 3 years in the house where he grew up, in the property where he grew up, on the property.
Been that from day one.
The disappearance has sparked rampant speculation on social media, much of it involving Martel. He calls it all nonsense and says he's had nothing to do.
You see, he licks his lips again, man. Is he nervous and dry, or is it an indicator that he's trying to clean his lies away? Remember Chris Watts? He did that a lot.
To give up hope.
The scenario everyone's hoping for is we bring them home. That's the main objective. It's always been that from day one.
The disappearance has sparked rampant speculation on social media, much of it involving Martel. He calls it all nonsense and says he's had
Okay, I missed it. 6:59, huh? Wait.
Hell. He calls it all nonsense and says he's had nothing to do with the disappearance.
58, I mean. 1 second.
And says
See, he's licking his lips again. And again, this is not, about any specific. This is just something to notice. And everybody's innocent until proven guilty. Everybody, I assume, tells us the truth, but I allow him to talk me out of it. I allow him to tell me what the priorities are behind the statements. And his priority is people online. That's whom he is performing for. What else can I do?
he's had nothing to do with the disappearance.
It'll never be enough for a lot of people online.
It will never be enough for a lot of people online. Never. He won't be able to end it in terms of successfully finding the children. And he knows it.
I mean, everywhere I go, people stare.
Everywhere I go, people stare. How do they stare at you? Even if you had nothing to do with it, even if people didn't think you have anything to do with it, they would look at you because you're in the news all the time, right? And in Canada, it's government owned, the TV station, I was told, and they are not that many, and so people are familiar with you all over Canada. So of course, when they see you on TV all the time and there you are all of a sudden, they look at you. But would you even notice that? If your vulnerable 4 and 6-year-old children are missing, they are vulnerable. They are unable to fight for themselves. So you have to fight for them, but really for them, you're fighting for your reputation. Because you're telling us your priority is you. I wonder if they're hungry. I wonder where they've went. I wonder if they're cold. I wonder if somebody's holding them hostage. I wonder if somebody's abusing them. I wonder if they're both crying right now. I wonder if they yell out for me by my name to please come and get them. I want my dad. I want Daniel or whatever. I don't know how they addressed him. Did they address him as Daniel or Daddy or whatever? But those are the things that would be expected. I wonder what they're going through. Not try to prove your innocence. I wonder what my children are going through right now. And I listened recently to this one. It was a live. I think Dylan, right? Jesus, was it Dylan Ehlers? Let me make sure I got it right this time. I think his dad was on there, right? And he talks about that he only can think about his son. Only and nothing else he can think about. And he lost a lot of friends and everything. Yeah, Dylan Ehlers, Ehlers, because he felt like he said he got in this attitude like, if you're not going to be boots in the ground with me, I want nothing to do with you. Meaning his life was only occupied with finding out what happened, with finding his son, and then kind of finding out what happened at least to his son. And it was really, really strange. This dog, similar to what has been described in the case of Sebastian Rogers, that the dog jumped into not a retention pond, but I think a river or lake, and he was stuck on one spot, but nobody would dig it up. But I also wondered why his dad didn't go out there and dig around. It was a very strange thing. But meaning this man is so preoccupied with only one thing: what happened to Dylan? and you just won't hear anything about what people think and what people say. And he basically said, I am so consumed with this, and I realize nothing else is important to me anymore. My son is the only thing important to me. So anybody that isn't going to help me look for my son, I can do without that person. I have no need for any kind of relationships with anybody or anything. This is the only thing that I'm preoccupied with, my son.
But that's something I have to live with until.
That's something I have to live with until when?
The truth makes its way out.
You know. No, I don't know. What do I know? You're trying to include me as somebody in the know? The truth makes its way out. Interesting way to formulate, right?
And the truth always makes its way out.
And the truth always makes its way out. This is something stated in a very general manner, people. Not I believe the truth will, I believe. And what is the truth? And you're only, whatever the truth is, it's not about the truth right now. The priority right now is to find the kids. Now, once you have the kids, then the priorities will shift. Now it's time for desperation for the children. If they're found, then it's time for anger. Who did this? What happened? What can we do to bring them to justice, to keep them off the street, if you believe there's an abductor? But what is the truth? This is so general, just like bring them home. Not, I want my children back. I want to have them with me. They belong with me, or they belong to their mother.
About this particular piece of the dispatch audio
All right,
is that you'll hear who alerted on May the 2nd, 2025. Now, while the search was previously suspended, it resumed over the weekend, and today marks the second day of renewed efforts. In this video, I want to go over some key developments, including dispatch audio from the initial search when the siblings first went missing. A lot of people have been wondering if the kids were by any water, and there's a portion of the dispatch audio that speaks about this. There's also dispatch audio related to the pink blanket, which has been a huge discussion online. What's really interesting about this particular piece of the dispatch audio is that you'll hear who alerted the search team about the blanket, and that
none belonged to the children. About an hour later, another officer arrived to show him photos of items, including a pink blanket found in the woods. None belonged to the children, he said. But what did the mother say? And why is the ATV so clean, the ATV of his brother? Could the blanket have been lost when they gotten rid of the kids, their bodies? These are potentials that we need to look at.
plays a big role as to why this discussion may be going on online.
But I will do that the next time. So this is from Shaniatra Speaks, and there was just a small part of it, and I will give you guys more updates later. Thank you.